everybody, to another edition of the Austin American-Statesman's High School Blitz. I'm joined always all season by Thomas T.J. Jones. And Thomas, before we look ahead to the final week of the season, let's look back to week number 10.
Yep.
That was a big weekend for a lot of reasons, but let's start from the top. Give me your game ball.
Well, a lot of big wins for a lot of teams that clinched a spot in the postseason. Starting with Westwood, that quarterback Will Jennings, Westwood's back in the playoffs because of their 53-35 win over Pflugerville. Will Jennings accounts for 7 touchdowns, 5 touchdown passes, 2 rushing touchdowns. Amazing performance by Jennings, and good for Westwood to get back in the postseason.
Maybe I should just pick him as my game ball too. But I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to go with Kyle Harrison. He's the running back from Liberty Hill. All he did was 5 touchdowns of his own, 295 yards. He runs for the game-winning touchdown with 15 seconds left in the game. They win 59-58, China Springs.
And I left him on my fantasy bench too. I can't believe it.
Oh man, that would have been a lot of points. Let's go a different direction here. What did you learn? Week 10.
You know, special teams, you can't ever overlook how important that is in a big game. Look, there's four games had major playoff implications last week, and special teams played a big role. Rouse beat Elgin. That probably puts Rouse in the postseason. Tay Beal had a 75-yard kick return. Crockett clinches a playoff spot because they block a 30-yard field goal attempt by Reagan the last play of the game. Connolly blocked a field goal attempt by Cedar Creek to win the game. That keeps Connolly's faint hopes alive. And our friend Reed Hochstein in Eastview, one of the best kickers around, had a 47-yard field goal in a fourth quarter of a 7-point win over Bastrop that kept Eastview's hopes alive.
What I learned is you just stay with your instincts and don't go away from your instincts. I've made a promise to myself to never pick against Lake Travis, never pick against Cedar Park. And what have I done this year? At different times, I picked against them both. Last week, I picked Hutto to beat Cedar Park, not remembering about the Black Rain defense.
Yeah.
The Black Rain defense is probably the best unit in town as far as offense or defense. They held Hutto to 25 points, which is 25 points below their average. They held Hutto to minus 30 yards rushing, which is good in any sport you look at.
It's just silly to predict to go against Cedar Park, and I'm guilty of it too. Do me a favor, Coach Carl Apsick, if you're looking at me, poke me in the eye through that camera lens if I pick against Cedar Park again, because I'm not. They could play the Cowboys, I'm not picking against Cedar Park. The Cowboys with Zeke Elliott, I'm not picking against Cedar Park.
Well, if Zeke's playing, I'm going with the Cowboys. And last but not least, Thomas, the best game that you've seen this year is?
You know, that Austin High LBJ game from a couple of weeks ago, Austin High won 42-34. It had everything. It had kickoff returns for a touchdown by Jaleel Scott LBJ, fumble returns for a touchdown, a pick 6. Austin High jumped out to a huge lead. LBJ showed a lot of fight to come back in, and it wasn't over till Austin High broke up a pass in the end zone on the last play of the game. And that secured the top Division I seed for Austin High, so a very important win for the Maroons, too.
The best game I saw this year was one of the saddest moments, too. I saw Max Sexton of Cedar Park break his leg early in the game against, help me out here, against Georgetown.
Yep.
Georgetown went up 3 touchdowns. Max Sexton breaks his leg. Ryan Fiala, the backup quarterback, comes into the ball game, leads this great comeback. Cedar Park winds up winning that game 28-27, and actually I did pick them to win in that game, so I feel good about that one. But that for drama, sheer drama, and the good news on Max Sexton, it was a clean break, and he'll be able to play college football beginning next year.
And we're talking about Cedar Park. As Rudy T once said about the Houston Rockets, never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Well, that's pretty deep, Thomas. That's going to wrap it up for another edition of the High School Blitz. Join us later in the week when we start talking about the final regular season game for the entire area. But until that time, joined by Thomas T.J. Jones, I'm Rick Cantu. Thank you for joining us on the Blitz. And like we always like to say, we hope your favorite team wins.